So to that extent, I'm very much a pragmatist as well, but I'm not going to back out of something just because somebody says, well, you're the underdog. I like that role. I really do. Underdogs seem to get an awful lot done. And win or lose, I'm in this for the people of District 84, and I'm staying in it, and I'm really happy about it. And I hope to see you all at the ballot box November the 4th.
And on that score, what I would say is...
Let's answer that question. Yes, sir.
I'm John Brooks. I live in District 84, and last legislative session there was a lot of, in my opinion, time, money, and energy spent on gun control and concealed weapons, particularly on our university campuses across the state, which they all opted out of. My question is there going to be an extension of that to try to further that, or to try to circumvent what basically has been declined as a bad idea? So if you could answer that, I'd appreciate that. Sure.
Okay. I am not a fan of guns on campus. I do not support it. I do not think that is the way to solve the problem. I think there are other methods that you can employ other than arming everybody, and I will remind you that there have been 2 incidences in states that have this type of concealed weapon carry permits where professors have actually shot themselves. One lady in a faculty bathroom and one guy who was lecturing with a gun in his pocket and went off and shot him in the foot. That's not the answer. I like the answers that involve protection. Heavy doors that lock, intercom systems, trained security forces. I know there are programs, somebody told me about the ALICE program today in Springdale where they're working with schools to make them safer. Guns take us, and I'm a gun owner. I believe, I agree with Ronald Reagan, you don't need an automatic weapon, but I believe that you should own guns. I just don't think they're proper some places like bars, churches, and schools. That's taking us back to the Old West, and the Old West wasn't even the Old West. We have ways to deal with this situation without arming everybody. And I give you a potential scenario that a teacher talked to me about not 2 days ago. Let's say everybody is armed, and there's an incident, and we pull guns, and then the police show up. Who are they going to shoot? Everybody with a gun? I don't think so. We need trained security to do what trained security does. And I applaud the colleges of the state of Arkansas who for 2 years have not opted into this program because it's dangerous. There are better ways to answer this issue.
Yeah, I think it would be great if we lived in a green world and we could say, no guns on campus. I'd sign up for that. What's the problem with that? Who doesn't listen? It's the crazies and the killers. That's who doesn't listen. And where do they go? They look for areas where our innocent, unprotected people lie. Why do you think it's so often that it's a place like a military base or a school? Why is that in the newspaper so often? Why do we have a dozen of those events with dead kids and dead adults every single year? The reason is because these crazies and these killers purposefully go to these places to hunt down our loved ones. And I believe the people that have already gone through the concealed carry training that this state puts in place and happen to be a professor or another worker on a school campus, the fact that they might have a weapon would deter some nut jobs from going to shoot our kids and grandkids. And I happen to believe that very strongly. So that's why I proposed that bill.
I don't think my question got answered by Mr. Collins. I asked if there was going to be an extension of what's already been put in place.
Well, I don't think either one of them answered the question.
I want extended, John. Is that the answer you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
just like somebody to tell me.
Is it my turn for you, bro? Where are we?
Yes.
Yes, all right. To say that just because you have guns is going to deter someone from acting maliciously. 2 words for you. Fort Hood. They've had 2 of these type of massacres, and those people are armed to the teeth. It didn't stop anybody. One of the common threads
Not true. Totally disarmed on the base.
People died. That's the bottom line. People died. Innocents died. But a lot of these shooters have fallen through the cracks in the mental health system. We need to look at mental health, and we need to get people help and keep them in the system. What is that beeping?
The door.
Oh, neat. Okay.
The front door, people coming in.
Lie detector.
Okay, we have time for, still good. Another question. Okay, you were first, if you'll stand and
Okay.
give your name and.
My name is Debbie Short, and I am
I'm sorry?
Debbie Short. I'm a longtime resident of Fayetteville, and I met Representative Collins at a town hall meeting. And it was right after, a shooting on campus. And I am a teacher, I have been on lockdown, I know what that's like. And
I
you
need for
asked
you to-
me.
are you gonna get to
I'm
the
asking,
question?
I'm asking. You asked me if I was for children carrying guns. You said high school students. What is your, you seemed in favor, well, you were in favor of that. You said, I think our students need to be armed. Do you still feel that way?
Number one, I don't recall that conversation. What I do know is when they had the administrators in the high schools who had the court cases about can they use the gun law to allow them to carry guns in high school, I was definitely in favor of that. The Attorney General came in and said, we're not going to allow those people to be called law enforcement officers or whatever the designation was, and they weren't going to have that. Now, when you talk about adults who have got their concealed carry permit, you must be 21 years old to get a concealed carry permit, so that does not apply to high school students. That's why I can't imagine that I would have said anything about arming high school students. Because you can't, if you don't have a concealed carry permit, I'm not in favor of you being allowed to carry a concealed weapon. And one of the criteria is you have to be 21. There are other criteria along with that, and I don't recall ever saying nor feeling that people without the concealed carry permit being able to carry a concealed weapon, whether it was in that location or another. So that's what's not confusing.
Well, I think my position is fairly clear, and I used to be a teacher at the University of Arkansas and other campuses. I can teach you how to speak. I can teach you how to debate. But don't count on me to be a good shot in an emergency situation. That's not my job. And if I'm going to go get training, I want to go get training in the discipline which I'm supposed to be teaching, not how to handle an emergency crisis on campus with a shooter. I want a good solid door that will lock. I want an intercom system, and I want a trained emergency staff, just like every university has, who can deal with that potential situation. And y'all, I taught freshman speech for a long time, hours and hours listening to freshman speeches. I might have shot myself if I didn't. That's not the answer. It's just not the answer.
Okay. The gentleman in the back, his hand has his hand up first.
I'm Michael Collins. I am got a few questions here. One question.
One question.
One question?
One question.
Can I make a run-on sentence? All right. All right. Is it ever a? By the way, I'm on base, unarmed. If you teach debate, you should do your research on facts.
You guys, okay, over here.
It's embarrassing.
Okay,
here it is.
To ask this.
When's a good time to force somebody to violate their right of conscience, which is guaranteed him in Article 2 of the state constitution, with criminal charges if he doesn't?
Would you ask the question again?
When is a good time to charge somebody with criminal charges if they are not forced to violate their right of conscience guaranteed in Article 2 of the state constitution? If you'd like an example of the question, I can give you an example.
Please do.
Okay, in Colorado, there are people going bankrupt because they won't make cakes, deliver flowers, or take photographs of homosexual weddings. That's a good example of someone not violating their conscience, facing fines, and now in Fayetteville, for the first time, criminal charges as well, in violation of Article 2. So that's my question. When's it a good time to charge someone with a criminal charge for not violating their right to religious conscience, guaranteed in Article 2?
Okay. Andy, you
Well, if I'm not mistaken, in Fayetteville, we have given exemptions for exactly those reasons. If you have religious beliefs or if it is a church, you're exempt from the anti-discrimination law. I absolutely think anti-discrimination is mandatory. Nobody needs to be discriminated against. It's because they're different. because everybody's different somehow. I mean, I guarantee you, we can compare what we do every day and we'll be different. Does that mean you're worse or I'm worse? No. So, and it's not just a he, it's a she thing too, Mr. Collins. So the Constitution applies to everybody. Discrimination should not happen. But in Fayetteville, we were wise enough to put exemptions in that. So I think that's the best answer I can give you at this point until we see how it works out.
Yeah, I'm absolutely against discrimination also, but I'm also against 119. And the biggest reason that I'm against it is because it takes perceptions and it allows people to presume behavior based on perceptions. And when you do that, you create a legal limbo that the businesses in Fayetteville are going to be in a very difficult position, because if somebody comes to them and says, I perceive your behavior is discriminating against me, and that the reason you made a decision that I didn't like is based on my perception of your thoughts about my gender expression or whatever, my socioeconomic status, or whatever I perceive, I've now got a case to move forward. And I am very, very concerned that we're gonna have a chilling effect on businesses and new hiring in Fayetteville. I'm really concerned about it. I'm against discrimination, but 119 is not the answer.
I think 119 is a darn good start to the answer. Half of the Fortune 500 companies already have this exact type of language in their HR policies, and they come to places that have the same type of perception. The perception that Fayetteville now has is we're not going to discriminate, come on in. That's going to bring us good, sustainable jobs from larger companies, and it's also going to give the smaller companies something to model themselves after. Is it perfect? Oh, absolutely. No legislation is ever perfect. But we can go back and revisit it. And please remember, we have an administrator of this program who I know and respect highly, who's going to validate any of these charges. He's not going to let perception stand. It's going to have to be standards.
Yeah, when you pass a law, it's not about an individual and his or her perceptions and how much we like him or her, because him or her is not what drives the law. The law is something that's landed in place, and it then becomes fixed. And if I bring a case and I don't like what he or she decided, I can then go to the next step. And my concern is that what we really created is a mess, and the lawyers are the ones that are going to benefit, and the rest of us are going to be in a more difficult spot. And it's mainly with regard to employment, in my view.
Well, there was someone that was here first.
I'm Jim Wilson, and I'm in District 84. And I just wanted to ask, I think I know the answer to this question, but which one of you has the most experience in the Arkansas legislature and has the leadership position?
What I would say is, I think I'm a leader, and that starts with the Arkansas legislature, and I look forward to continuing in that vein.
Got me. I have reserves going to Little Rock as long as I possibly could. Thank you very much. But leadership, for those of you who know the Quorum Court, it is a very small legislative body. We are not city council. We're a legislative body that oversees $60-some-odd million. That pales in comparison to the state, but there's only 15 of us. And we handle our obligations with diligence and an eye out for our constituents. And this is my 6th year in that body. And I have learned as much as I can learn. I've run the Finance and Budget Committee for 4 years. And if you don't think that's hard, come join me one day when I make the rounds. We have passed one budget unanimously. We passed one in November. The first one, I don't even remember, but we're working on our 4th one, and I'm very proud of that. Leadership, I got it in spades. And I will be more than happy to go to Little Rock and use my talents productively for the citizens of this district and this state. So, Mr. Wilson, I haven't been to Little Rock, but I don't think that makes me a very bad person. I'm just willing to go.
Ask which one had the most experience. You talked about trying to get an understanding of the system.
Charlie, you have follow-up if you have.
Just go nana. I'll do it.
If not, we can move on. If not, okay.
I'm Kimberly Brooks, and I'm a resident of Fayetteville. I've been here my entire life. I want to bring it back to education, because I didn't get all that I needed from that good clarity from the candidates. And I'm gonna make a tiny statement, just because I want to clarify what I'm asking. You know, to move the needle in Arkansas, we have had a lot of really smart people and policy activists and at the state level and national level say that there are 3 criteria. That would be pre-K, and that would be 3rd grade reading level, and it would also include summer programs, because our children tend to fall off the radar during the summertime. And being that education's kind of my dig, I would like to know where your priorities are in those programs. And my caveat is that the outcome is, the evidence-based outcome of this is that they're gonna be college and career ready if we give these kids these opportunities early on. So if we're worried about jobs, we're worried about college. That's my question, that's my question. Where's your priority on those 3 areas? Pre-K, summer programs, 3rd grade reading level?
Yes, to all of the above.
It is.
Charlie. Yes, to all of the above. Education is absolutely critical. You want to get jobs, attract jobs to this state, then you offer a solid education program. You either get kids ready for college or a career. My mother taught in the vocational education field. She was the 2nd academic teacher at Fayetteville High School West Campus, which was then Sequoia Polytechnical. Spell that when you're 10 years old. I know the necessity that all kids don't go to college. Some of them branch off and they need to have career options, and we're moving away from that, and we need to reevaluate it. Pre-K, it works. Simple, it works. Summer reading programs, I was a fan of them. And Fayetteville High School Fayetteville Public Library is one of the best summer reading programs in the state. It doesn't have to be all state generated. You can partner with private industry, you can partner with nonprofit and achieve some of these goals. But it certainly has to be motivated from the state government, and I'm all for it, and I don't think we have to raise taxes to do it.
Yeah, again, all those things sound like wonderful things. When it comes to, here's the education budget, and here's how much money we've got to work with, if we can say, geez, the money would be more effective used this way rather than that way, I'm wide open to it. When it comes to some things, though, I worry, Andrew. I worry that rather than, like my mother took me to the library, the Livonia Public Library where I grew up, and said, hey, here's a book, start reading, and I read every biography there was on every baseball player in the library, Willie Mays, Ted Williams, and every single one they had read. And then my wife took my kids to the Fayetteville Library, you know, every day during the week, and were in those summer programs and read all those books. But invariably, it was parents saying, hey, this is a smart thing. There were books around the house, and they were reading them. And so I'm looking for, not how do we get the government to say, here's the program, but what are the things we can do to incentivize parents to say, you know what, if we're doing these different things, my life is getting better. And conversely, if I'm not making good choices, my life isn't getting as much better, so that they see those choices in that context. So to me, that's a big part of it. Where's the personal responsibility of the parents motivating the kids to do some of these things, which aren't as fun as playing video games and eating cookies?
Pre-K is something that is already been shown, study after study, very, very popular across this state. But there are programs that just simply don't exist for kids to put their kids, for parents to put their kids in. It's a priority. All of these are priorities, because the key to Arkansas's future is through education, and we've got to do all we can do to offer the best choices we can offer.
I'm sorry, guys, I've been like this and I haven't seen it, so we have time for one more question. So
my question will be answered with one word. There's no question that in terms of constitutional reform for Arkansas, I'm sorry, I'm Will Watson. I live just outside of the district, stone's throw away. No question inside State House, inside the state capitol. Question. Here we go.
What's the question?
Need to reform the state treasurer's office. Big mess down there. Who do you support for state treasurer? Two candidates are Dennis Milligan and Karen Garcia.
Karen Garcia, all the way. She has lots of experience. She's got a code of ethics. She has impressed me every single time I have met her. She'll be a great choice.
My first choice was Duncan Bair. My second choice is Dennis Milligan.
No, I'm sorry. That is all the time we have for questions. The candidates have 2 minutes to make closing statements. And Candy, since Charlie went first to begin with, I'll let you go first.
Again, I thank you all for coming, and I thank the Chamber for hosting these events, and there are going to be more with other candidates. I encourage you to attend so you will be informed. Some of you are sitting on some of the ideas that I want to advance if elected. I believe in this state. I'm from this state. I love this state. My eye is on this district, however, because this is where I live. This is where I grew up. I'm education oriented. I think we need to focus on that. I'm a firm believer in raising the minimum wage, and I employ 54 people. And it's not going to hurt my business. I'll make it work because people deserve a living wage. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. I've got my website up, my Facebook page up. Ask me questions. I want to know what's important to you, and that's what I want to do in Little Rock. I don't want to go to Little Rock and serve big business, PACs, or outside influences. I'm here for you all. You all are supporting my campaign, and people are supporting it, individuals, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I would just like to thank the Chamber for hosting this event and thank all of you for coming. Again, as I said when we started, I think it's a really big deal when people care enough to show up, and it's amazing the kind of influence you have when you do that. So I want to thank all of you. Most of all, though, I want to thank Candy. I really haven't had a chance to get to know you at all, and I've really enjoyed the last hour to get to know you better, so thank you very much for that. I would kind of go back to the points I made earlier. I believe that if we're going to help turn our state into a good jobs magnet, we're going to take care of all the people in the state. That includes District 84, the east part of Washington County, Greenland, the parts of Prairie Grove that are in the district, all of Fayetteville. To me, it's a question of abundance. And how do we help make things better to improve the quality of life for all our Kansans? Because I believe that we're going to win together, and that's the direction we're headed. Effective, conservative leadership. We reduce punishing tax rates on good behavior like work. We make smart solutions when we're given a bad set of choices, like we were given a bad set of choices on Obamacare and came through with the #1 solution of all 50 states. It's not perfect, it's not a fantasy, but among the 50 solutions that were put in place, it's #1, and it will continue to get better. Next, we need to focus on how do we continually improve our education system so that we can move ourselves from ranking near the bottom toward ranking near the top. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the Chamber, I also want to thank you for coming out tonight and supporting this candidate forum. Our next candidate forum is a week from tonight. You're ready to go. That's the 23rd. Oh, this is Wednesday. I'm sorry. Tuesday night. It is Tuesday night, the 23rd, and it will be for Ward 4 for City Council. Tip.